He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with.
President Zelensky truly did his country a real disservice.
Or someone else needs to lead the country to do that.
It's not what you need in wartime, but buoyed by Europe's London summit, President Zelensky seemed unmoved.
It is not enough to simply hold elections. You would have to prevent me from participating in the elections.
Now, if Zelensky to resign, and that's a big if, the Constitution says the Speaker of here, the Parliament, takes over his job with pretty much all of his powers until there's new elections.
That's this man, Ruslan Stefanchuk. His personal approval rating, it's not recently even been measured. So they would need a vote fast, and to do that legally, to lift martial law, and so a full peace.
How chaotic would elections be if they were called right now?
It's impossible, because it will be unconstitutional. Everything what we have because of war, we need to change before elections. We need to reload all freedoms of movement, freedom of speech. We need to have competitive electoral process.
Ukraine's deputy elections chief, asked by us 5 days ago, said they would need, in peacetime, a minimum of 6 months to technically arrange a vote.
We could hold elections, but these elections would not meet internationally recognized standards and could call into question the result obtained in these elections. I would like to appeal to our foreign partners. When they talk about elections in Ukraine, they should take into account the necessary preparatory period. This is a country under martial law, a country where everything is aimed at defense.
He added the money used to reform and prepare often came from USAID, which is in doubt now too. And then there is the question of, if the nightly drone strikes and violence stops, who gets to actually vote? There are an estimated 7 million Ukrainians abroad who would need to cast ballots, and 1 million in the military who would need peace to leave their posts. Finally, Ukraine has a tortured history of Russian electoral manipulation. In 2004, during the Orange Revolution, was the first rejection of Moscow's meddling in elections, with peaceful protests forcing a rerun and pro-Western democratic reform in the future.
Without strong legitimacy, this state will not survive, because Russia will destroy the reputation of the legitimacy, and then we will be the failed state.
Another instance of disconnect between Washington's vision and Ukraine's actual plight. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Kiev, Ukraine.
Is the path to an actual lasting peace between Ukraine and Russia getting longer and more winding? With no deal after Friday's now infamous Oval Office rumble involving President Trump, Vice President Vance, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. This afternoon, Mr. Trump was asked what he would need to see from President Zelensky to restart any negotiations for a ceasefire or mineral agreement.
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative, because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe.
This be more appreciative message was relayed directly to Zelensky during that Friday meeting.
What you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Now, Vice President Vance was talking about saying thank you in that meeting, which President Zelensky had said. CNN more broadly found a non-comprehensive list of 33 previous times Zelensky thanked the United States, including saying he was grateful to Trump just a few weeks ago on February 12th, earlier today. However, there was more back and forth. President Trump blasting Zelensky for saying on Sunday that a deal to end the war was very, very far away. President Trump on Truth Social writing, quote, "This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelensky, and America will not put up with it for much longer," unquote. Then just a few hours later, Zelensky appeared to try to change his own framing of the path to a deal. Zelensky writing on Twitter or X, quote, "We are working together with America and our European partners and very much hope for U.S. support on the path to peace. Peace is needed as soon as possible," unquote. Obviously, We don't know what comes next, but the U.S. now is welcoming a European-led effort to end the war in Ukraine. This morning, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer delivered a veiled swipe at the Trump administration.
Russia is the aggressor. Zélinski is a war leader whose country has been invaded. And we should all be supporting him and not fawning over Putin.
This after we learned yesterday that the U.S. has actually suspended operations and planning for offensive cyber operations against Russia. A senior U.S. official telling CNN this could make the U.S. more vulnerable to cyber attacks from Moscow, not having that deterrent there. No word on whether Trump or Vance have asked Russian President Vladimir Putin to say thank you.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
It's not an overstatement, for sure, to say that it is one of the most astonishing moments that we have ever seen happen inside the Oval Office, between these world leaders essentially shouting at one another by the end of this, devolving into, at points, Trump and Vance berating Zélinski for saying that he was not being grateful enough for the aid that the United States has provided to Ukraine.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen.
And Zélinski arguing back that they do not understand Putin, essentially, that he will violate any agreement if the proper guarantees aren't in place. That seemed to particularly incense Trump, as he was saying, don't tell us what we're going to feel.
During the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Zélinski has been arguing that Putin will not stop with Ukraine, that he will go on to other Eastern European nations, including Poland, as he made the argument there. And Trump was essentially pushing back on that and telling Zélinski that he had no cards and that he needed to make a deal.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people.
But just to give you a sense of how much things broke down, look at this picture of the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. She has been the ambassador to the U.S., I should note, since 2021, since before Russia invaded Ukraine. She had her head in her hands at one point when I looked around the room and was just looking at all of the officials here. Secretary of State Rubio, Treasury Secretary Bessent, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the Commerce Secretary, they were all in the room, and the Ukrainian officials as well, watching this play out and raising real questions about what the two leaders here are going to be able to get done behind the scenes. This is the photo of the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States as they were just shouting at one another between the three of them in an incredibly remarkable moment.